Listen, it's in here. It's in here. It's all throughout here. All of our heroes had impossibilities bend the knee to God. Listen, when I was a boy, it was possible to live in a lion's den with ravenous lions and survive the night. It was possible to live inside the the belly of a whale. It was possible to survive that. It was possible to be thrown into a fire and come out not smelling like smoke. When I was a boy, that was all possible. Who's heard these stories? How many of you grew up hearing these stories? Yeah, Sunday school. I was taught these things. It was possible. It was possible to walk on water when I was a kid and to turn water into wine. It was possible to pray over a small amount of food and watch it be multiplied to feed thousands upon thousands. It was possible for blind eyes to see, for deaf ears to hear. It was possible for the goodness of God to be revealed through leprosy being removed. When I was a kid, it was possible for dead people to be prayed over and be raised from the dead. It was all possible. You know how you lose a generation? You introduce them to the names of God and never the interpretation. God is a healer, but you never see it. See, I know what happened for me. I grew up, and as I grew up, life hit me with disappointments, valley seasons, moments where God seemed nowhere, or I couldn't find him, disappointment and failure. And the world, just the world itself is a ramshackle at times, and you find yourself in it, and suddenly your circumstances are determining his goodness. Your circumstances are determining what is possible instead of this right here. Instead of an interaction with the perfection of his love. His goodness isn't determined by our circumstances. Listen, when a need gets met in my life, it isn't the measuring stick of his goodness, it's the evidence. I don't measure his goodness by my circumstances. You know what faith is? And I've said this before. Faith believes that God's love is perfectly good 100% of the time. It looks like risk. We're going to be going into it for the next month and a half. We're going to be talking about faith. I can't wait. I've talked to Lowell. I know what the series is about. We're going into faith, this radical thing that looks like risk, that looks like obedience. But honestly, you can't, it looks and it acts like risk, and it is risky, but the reality is this faith may be spelled risk, but it's absolutely about trust. It's anchored in trust. And the trust is all about how sure you are in his perfect love. See, to the extent that you're sure in his love is the extent you trust. To the extent you trust is the extent you can risk. Amen? He doesn't oscillate. He doesn't oscillate. See, I'm convinced that this impossible life that we were called to live for, and it is in your DNA. You're made in his image. It's in your DNA. Jesus said, pray, thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven isn't just a destination, it's a lifestyle. We've been invited to invite his kingdom here with us while we live, while we walk. It's a lifestyle. It's in our DNA. We are made in his image like our dad. We have access like Jesus to the Father, to heaven, to pull it into now and to make the impossibilities bend their knee to the good, perfect love of our Father of God. Amen?